Jagruta, so can homemakers overcome loneliness through these practices? Yes, very much, Jagruta. Loneliness arises when women feel unseen or disconnected. Practices like Sudarshan Kriya and meditation restore the connection with the inner self, making them feel whole even when alone. Satsangs and Seva also create community where homemakers find friendships beyond family roles. Many women share how their loneliness disappeared once they became active in art of living programs. In Dharma, loneliness is dispelled by satsang and bhakti. When a homemaker chants mantras, lights the lamp, or performs pujas, she feels divine company. The Devi and Devatas are present with her. Joining temple rituals and dharmic gatherings ensures she is never isolated. In truth, the Dharma transforms loneliness into divine companionship. How can homemakers balance tradition and modernity? The art of living bridges ancient wisdom with modern needs. A homemaker can meditate in the morning and then use her clarity to handle modern challenges like technology, finances, and children's education. She doesn't need to choose between tradition and modernity. They can complement each other. Dharma is timeless. Gayatri, Chapas, and Vandanam and Homas are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. At the same time, Dharma never resists progress. A homemaker who preserves rituals while also adapting to modern tools becomes a true role model, living proof that tradition and modernity are not opposites but allies. Now, how does Seva dissolve the feeling of being unemployed? When homemakers they realize they are contributing to society in a meaningful way, whether it's teaching meditation, Sudarshan Kriya, or a happiness program, helping at a medical camp, or supporting youth programs, Seva gives a purpose. They no longer think, I am unemployed. Instead, they feel like change makers in Vedic thought. Employment is not only about earning money, but about fulfilling dharma. Seva is the highest employment of one's time and energy. When homemakers serve, they are employed by the divine itself. The feeling of unemployment vanishes when they recognize their seva as sacred work. Now, can homemakers also become spiritual leaders? Definitely, many homemakers, after consistent practice and teacher training, lead satsangs, guide meditation sessions, and inspire hundreds. Leadership in spirituality comes not from position but from purity. A homemaker with sincerity and sadhana can become a light for her community. Now, in our scriptures, queens like Draupadi and Kunti were spiritual anchors of their families. Gargi and Maitri were revered rishikas. Homemakers today can step into similar leadership, guiding family, community, and society in Dharma. Leadership is not about titles but influence, and homemakers already have immense influence. Now, how do these practices help in managing anger and frustration? Anger often arises when energy is low or expectations are high. Sudarshan Kriya rebalances energy, reducing irritation. Meditation teaches detachment so small triggers don't disturb. Many homemakers say their family noticed a big difference. Mom is calmer now. This harmony makes a household life smoother. Now, in Dharma, anger or krodha is considered a fire that burns the self first. Mantra chanting and pujas act as cooling waters. A homemaker who chants Gayatri mantra or Vishnu Sahasranama daily gradually finds her anger dissolving. Instead of reacting, she responds with patience. This ritual transforms frustration into forgiveness. Now, how do these practices enhance physical health for homemakers? Now, the daily chores often cause back pain, fatigue, or insomnia. Padmasana and yoga restore flexibility, while Sudarshan Kriya oxygenates the body and improves immunity. Meditation reduces blood pressure and boosts sleep. A healthy homemaker becomes more confident and joyful. In Vedic tradition, health is not only physical but spiritual. Homas purify the air, mantras balance vibrations, and dietary discipline from dharma keeps the body sattvic. When homemakers follow these practices, their health naturally flourishes. Ayurveda and dharma go hand in hand to keep women strong. Now, how does chanting mantras affect a homemaker's state of mind? Mantras are sound vibrations that calm the nervous system. When a homemaker chants, her mind becomes focused, anxiety reduces, and positivity grows. Chanting also improves concentration, which helps in both household work and personal goals. In the Vedas, mantra is described as manna tatrayate, that which protects the mind. How homemakers chanting Gayatri, Mahamrityunjaya, or Devi mantras bring not only peace to themselves but protection to their entire household. The sound vibrations ward off negativity and create a sacred shield around the family. Now, can homemakers use these practices to develop new skills? Yes, because spiritual practices increase clarity, creativity, and confidence. Many homemakers, after beginning sadhana, discover talents in music, teaching, public speaking, or entrepreneurship. When the mind is stress free, hidden skills naturally emerge. A dharmic tradition says sadhana awakens latent samskaras. A homemaker chanting mantras or doing yagyas develops patience, memory, and focus. These qualities open the door to new skills, be it in arts, business, or community leadership. Dharma refines talent and gives it purpose. Now, how can homemakers use their free time constructively with these practices? Instead of scrolling endlessly on phones or feeling bad and bored, homemakers can meditate, chant, or volunteer. Even 15 minutes of Sudarshan Kriya or Seva gives them more satisfaction than hours of idle time. This constructive use of time builds self worth. Free time is a divine gift. Scriptures say it must be used for sadhana. Homemakers can use it to chant stotras, perform pujas, or learn scriptures. Every minute invested in dharma brings inner wealth. Constructive spiritual use of time ensures homemakers never feel wasted or idle. Now, how do homemakers benefit by attending Art of Living and Vedic retreats? Retreats offer homemakers a chance to step out of routine, recharge, and learn deeply. Many women share that retreats gave them new confidence, friendships, and inspiration to serve. It feels like coming home to themselves. Vedic retreats immerse homemakers in chanting, homas, and scriptural wisdom. Away from daily duties, they reconnect with the essence of Dharma. Returning home, they carry new energy and blessings. Such retreats are modern equivalents of Vanvas, temporary retreats that transform life. Now, how do homemakers benefit from practicing pranayama daily? The pranayama is the bridge between body and mind. For homemakers, daily pranayama increases oxygen supply, reduces stress, and balances options and emotions. Even simple practices like Nari Shodhan or Bhastrika energize them for the entire day. Women often tell us that pranayama makes them more patient with their children and calmer in family discussions. Now, in Vedic scriptures, prana is life itself. By controlling prana, one controls the mind. For homemakers, pranayama before Sandhya rituals makes their prayers more powerful. It also strengthens immunity and keeps diseases away. A pranayama practicing homemaker becomes a strong, radiant presence in the family. Now, how does gratitude practice change the life of a homemaker? Jagadav, gratitude is a transformative. Homemakers often feel unrecognized. By consciously practicing gratitude through journaling or meditation, they shift focus from what's lacking to what is abundant. This shift brings inner joy, reduces complaints, and enhances family harmony. Gratitude is central to Vedic rituals. Every puja begins with offering thanks, be it to the sun, the rivers, or the ancestors or the guru. A homemaker practicing gratitude through daily arati or mantra recitation invites prosperity. The Vedas say Kritagyata Lakshmi ko bulati hai. Gratitude invites Goddess Lakshmi herself. Now, how can homemakers find self worth beyond household duties? The self worth should not depend only on external recognition. Through meditation and Sudarshan Kriya, homemakers connect with their inner self and realize they are inherently valuable. When self worth comes from within, they no longer feel just a housewife, but a contributor to society's well being. In Dharma, the role of a homemaker is sacred. She sustains the lineage, preserves rituals, and nurtures values. Recognizing this heritage itself gives self worth. By chanting mantras and engaging in dharmic practices, she aligns with divine Shakti, realizing that her worth is eternal, not dependent on worldly validation. Now, how do festivals strengthen the role of homemakers? Festivals are opportunities for homemakers to express creativity, devotion, and leadership. Preparing prasad, decorating, and leading family rituals bring recognition and joy. They also give homemakers moments to break routine and celebrate life. Festivals are the lifeblood of Dharma, and homemakers are their custodians. Without their devotion and preparation, Diwali, Navratri, Sankranti would lose essence. By organizing pujas, fasting, and rituals. Homemakers keep festivals alive. They become the transmitters of culture from one generation to the next. Can homemakers use silence retreats to recharge themselves? Yes, the silence retreats offered by Art of Living allow homemakers to step away from daily demands and immerse in deep rest. Women often return with renewed clarity, joy, and confidence. Silence clears emotional baggage, making them lighter and happier. In Vedic tapasya, mauna or silence is considered a powerful practice. For homemakers, observing silence even for a day is like resetting the mind. Combined with chanting and rituals, silence retreats awaken their wisdom, inner wisdom. It's a sacred pause that empowers them to return to duties with grace. Now, how do homemakers deal with comparison and inferiority complex? Comparison arises when one feels inadequate. Meditation dissolves these tendencies by reconnecting with the inner abundance. In satsangs, the homemakers discover that everyone has unique strengths. They stop comparing and start celebrating themselves. Dharma teaches that every role has its own dignity. The grihini is as vital as the king. By chanting scriptures and performing rituals, homemakers remind themselves of their divine role. Recognizing themselves as embodiments of Lakshmi removes inferiority. In Dharma, no role is lesser, every role is sacred. Now, how do homemakers contribute to nation building through these practices? A peaceful society begins at home. When homemakers practice Sudarshan Kriya, home yoga, meditation, they create stress free families. Children raised in such homes grow into balanced citizens. Thus, homemakers indirectly contribute to building a strong, peaceful nation. Now, the Vedas declare Graha hi Rashtra ka bij hai. The home is the seat of the nation. Homemakers who perform pujas, homas, and sandhya vandanam create sattvic households. These households become the backbone of dharmic society. By nurturing dharma at home, they contribute to the strength of the entire nation. Now, how does seva bring homemakers out of depression? Jagadev, thank you for joining us today. So, depression often comes from feeling isolated or purposeless. Seva shifts focus outwards. Homemakers engage in teaching, organizing, or helping others feel useful and appreciated. The joy of serving dissolves feeling of sadness and worthlessness. In Dharma, seva is medicine for the mind. A homemaker who cooks for the poor, serves in temples, or helps children in learning scriptures experiences fulfillment. Depression fades because seva aligns with divine will. As the Gita says, through selfless service, the heart becomes purified. Now, how do these practices help in improving relationships within the family? Jagada meditation and Sudarshan Kriya reduce irritability and increase patience, which directly improves communication with the family members. When homemakers feel peaceful, they naturally radiate harmony. Many report that family conflicts reduce drastically after they begin practicing. Vedic rituals like Satyanarayan Katha or Lakshmi Puja are designed to bring families together. When a homemaker leads these rituals, unity blossoms. Mantras purify negative vibrations and shared worship strengthens bonds. Dharma ensures relationships are nurtured with mutual respect and devotion. Now, can homemakers experience spiritual liberation while managing families? Yes, liberation is not about escaping duties but about living them with awareness. Gurudev often says, you don't need to leave your family to attain freedom. With meditation, Kriya, and Seva, homemakers can be fully engaged in life yet remain inwardly free. The Vedas honor the path of the Grihastha or the householder. Liberation is possible even while fulfilling household duties if done with dharmic awareness. A homemaker who chants, performs puja, and lives with devotion is walking the path of moksha. She can be both a mother and a seeker of liberation. Now, you mentioned Trikal Sandhya earlier. How does practicing it bring structure and inner dignity to a homemaker's life? Jagavita Trikal Sandhya, the thrice daily remembrance of the divine at sunrise, noon, and sunset, is one of the oldest practices prescribed in the Vedas. For a homemaker whose day often stretches endlessly without boundaries between personal and family duties, this practice offers a natural rhythm. When she pauses in the morning with gratitude, at midday with surrender, and at sunset with reflection, her routine becomes sanctified. It is no longer a monotonous cycle of chores, but a sacred offering. This alignment with nature's cycles also stabilizes her emotions and reduces anxiety. Many women report that even a short 5-minute Trikal Sandhya transforms their entire day, making them calmer and more purposeful. By adopting this discipline, she begins to experience her role not as just a housewife, but as a Graha Lakshmi, the anchor of spiritual energy in the household. Over time, this anchors her self esteem and gives her an inner dignity that no external recognition can shake. Now, how can Gayatri Japa empower homemakers spiritually and mentally? Jagadish, the Gayatri mantra is called the mother of all mantras. When a homemaker begins chanting or meditating on this mantra daily, she taps into an eternal source of strength. Many women feel that their intellectual or spiritual potential is underutilized at home. Gayatri Japa addresses exactly this. It awakens the higher intellect of Buddhi and expands awareness. Even 5 to 10 minutes or 108 beats of Gayatri Japa gives immense clarity, reduces self doubt, and empowers a woman to face her family responsibilities with wisdom. Mentally, it calms unnecessary chatter and prevents overthinking. Spiritually, it connects her to the universal mother, giving her the courage to nurture without feeling drained. In Art of Living programs, women are often guided into deeper meditations using Gayatri, and the results are transformative. They report a sense of being productive, not in material terms, but in radiating peace, joy, and stability in their homes and communities. Now, could you elaborate on the significance of Upanayanam and Sandhyavandanam for women, especially in the modern context? There, the traditionally Upanayanam was limited to boys, but Vedic texts also record instances of women rishikas who underwent a sacred thread ceremony. Today, with the changing times, many women are reclaiming this heritage. Upanayanam is not merely a ritual, but an initiation into a life of awareness, discipline, and responsibility towards society and the cosmos. For a homemaker undergoing Upanayanam, were permissible and guided by tradition. And practicing Sandhya Vandanam regularly is profoundly empowering. Sandhya Vandanam involves prayers, pranayama, and mantras performed at sunrise and sunset. This daily spiritual bath that keeps the mind pure, balances energy, and removes feelings of stagnation. Women who practice it find their homes charged with positivity. More importantly, it reinforces the message that spirituality is not confined to priests or ascetics. Every householder, including homemakers, is a custodian of sacred traditions. This recognition uplifts a role from being economically inactive to spiritually indispensable. Now, so you spoke about rituals and practices, but what about pujas and humas? How do they help homemakers specifically? Yeah, the pujas and homas create a sacred environment in the home, which directly impacts the mind and emotions. For homemakers who are often the emotional backbone of the family, conducting or even participating in these rituals gives them a channel to express devotion and surrender. Fire rituals like homas are scientifically shown to purify the air, but more importantly, they purify the subtle vibrations. When a woman offers ghee, grains, or herbs into the sacred fire while chanting mantras, she experiences that her daily offerings of cooking, cleaning, and caring are equally sacred. This shifts her perception from I am doing menial work to I am serving through sacred action. Moreover, regular pujas keep the homemaker's mind connected with higher ideals, preventing her from sinking into negative self talk. Many women in art of living have even learned to conduct simple homas themselves and later trained to lead community pujas, which gave them an immense sense of contribution and leadership. Now, could you explain the cultural and spiritual relevance of Guru Puja for women and Giri Puja and how participating in such traditions empowers them? Yes, Jayagurudev, the Giri Puja, the worship of mountains or hills as manifestations of divinity, is an ancient Vedic practice signifying reverence for nature. In many regions of India, women lead these rituals carrying lamps, offerings, and singing bhajans, devotional songs. For homemakers, Giri Puja carries a special symbolism. Just as the mountain stands firm and nourishes rivers, she too anchors her family and rituals for generations. Participating in such rituals connects her with a collective cultural memory that celebrates her role not as unemployed but as Shakti Swarupani, an embodiment of strength and stability. Spiritually, it reminds her that she is part of a larger cosmic family, not isolated in the four walls of her house. Culturally, it keeps her engaged in meaningful community activities, breaking the monotony of domestic life. This combination of spiritual reverence and community participation restores pride in her identity and strengthens her sense of belonging. Now, what is Sanyam Sadhana of level 1 and level 2, and how can it support homemakers in overcoming feelings of restlessness and dissatisfaction? Yeah, the Sanyam Sadhana of level 1 and level 2 means cultivating discipline and self mastery, not suppression, but channeling energy wisely. For a homemaker, days are often filled with constant demands from family, leaving little space for self care. This can create restlessness and a sense of invisibility. Through Sanyam Sadhana of level 1 and level 2, she learns to pause, breathe, and bring mindfulness into her daily actions. Simple practices such as mindful eating, reducing unnecessary gossip, or dedicating fixed minutes to meditation are part of this discipline. Gradually, these practices reduce impulsive reactions and bring steadiness of mind. Instead of feeling lost in chores, she begins to experience each activity as sacred. Art of Living programs offer practical tools like silence retreats, meditation techniques, and guided sadhana that strengthen her inner willpower. Over time, she discovers that true fulfillment doesn't come from external validation but from inner mastery. This realization transforms dissatisfaction into deep contentment. The Sayam sadhana of level 1 and level 2 becomes her silent strength, anchoring her amidst her family responsibilities and society's expectations. Now, you often emphasize satsang as central to householders' life. How does regular satsang uplift homemakers emotionally and socially? Regular satsang, the gathering of truth seekers in devotion and knowledge, has always been the lifeline of Vedic culture. For homemakers who may often feel isolated within the household routine, satsang opens doors to companionship, laughter, and shared spiritual energy. When they sing bhajans, listen to wisdom talks, and meditate together, they not only elevate their own minds but also release emotional burdens. Loneliness, self doubt, and fatigue melt away in the collective vibration of joy. Spiritually, satsang strengthens faith, reminding her that she is part of a larger spiritual family. Socially, it builds networks of friendships where women support each other in practical and emotional ways. Many women who joined satsang through the Art of Living community later reported that it became their second home. The shared bhakti and rhythm of group chanting re energized them, and the knowledge discussions helped them see their own struggles with fresh perspectives. The satsang becomes both healing and empowering, a sacred space where homemakers rediscover their voice and value. Now, how does engaging in seva or selfless service transform the outlook of homemakers who feel unproductive? Seva is the fastest way to dissolve feelings of worthlessness. Many homemakers feel unproductive because their work within the home is undervalued, but when they step into seva, organizing satsangs, helping in courses, supporting community events, teaching children, or even offering food and time, their sense of contribution expands beyond the family. Suddenly, they realize that they are capable of impacting dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of lives. And art of living, seva is not seen as an obligation but as a joyful expression of love. Women who engage in seva discover hidden talents, organizing, teaching, counseling, or artistic skills that they may not have known they possessed. The transformation is remarkable. From being hesitant and self conscious, they blossom into confident community leaders. Psychologically, seva shifts the focus from what about me to how can I help. The simple shift frees the homemaker from simple pity and fills her with gratitude and pride. This seva becomes the key bridge between inner fulfillment and outer contribution. Now, the Vedic Dhammasasthan often highlights the role of women as custodians of dharmic traditions. How does seva align with this role? Jagadev, in the Vedic worldview, the home is called the Grihastha Ashrama, a sacred stage of life where householders preserve and transmit dharma. Women, in particular, are seen as guardians of rituals, values, and culture. When a homemaker participates in seva, she is extending this custodianship beyond her home into society, whether it is organizing a Ganesh Chaturthi puja, helping in Navratri celebrations, or assisting in Guru Puja. Her role is dharmic. She ensures continuity of sacred practices for future generations. Seva also reaffirms her identity not as unemployed, but as a living torchbearer of tradition. By doing seva in temples, satsangs, or art of living programs, she fulfills her dharmic duty of nurturing society. From a Vedic lens, seva is not charity, it is alignment with Rita, the cosmic order. Thus, every woman who engages in seva embodies Dharma Patni, a partner of Dharma, ensuring that the household and the community remain rooted in spiritual values. This recognition restores pride in her role as both a homemaker and a social contributor. Now, can homemakers truly become certified art of living teachers, and how does this journey begin? Absolutely, many of our most inspiring art of living teachers today began as homemakers who once doubted their abilities. The journey usually starts with attending a basic happiness program or art of living course, followed by regular practices of Sudarshan Kriya and Seva involvement. Over time, as they deepen in commitment, they can apply for teacher training. The training is rigorous, combining deep spiritual practices, knowledge, communication skills, and leadership qualities. Homemakers often shine in this journey because they are natural listeners and nurturers, patient listeners, and compassionate guides. Once certified, they can teach courses, mentor participants, and bring transformation to others. This not only provides them with recognition but also a sense of purpose and empowerment. Financial independence is also possible, though the deeper motivation remains service. Time and again, homemakers have shared that becoming a teacher gave them back their voice, dignity, and confidence. It showed them that being a homemaker is not a limitation, it is a foundation of becoming a guide to society. Now, how does the role of a volunteer prepare homemakers for leadership in community and spiritual life? Volunteering is the first step towards leadership because it nurtures responsibility without pressure. Homemakers who join as volunteers in Art of Living or Vedic Dhammasasthan activities begin by offering simple help, arranging flowers, guiding participants, preparing prasad, or assisting in pujas. Slowly, this grows into organizing events, managing teams, and coordinating large gatherings. For a woman who once felt invisible at home, this is transformation. Transformational volunteering gives her visibility, appreciation, and the joy of working in a team. It also reawakens her organizational and leadership skills, which often remain untapped in household life. Spiritually, Seva performed as a volunteer purifies the ego, aligning her with humility and devotion socially. She becomes a role model for other women in her locality, inspiring them to step out of isolation. This volunteering acts like a bridge between being a homemaker and becoming a recognized leader in the community, anchored in service, humility, and strength. Now, many homemakers worry about time management. How can they balance family responsibilities with seva, satsang, and training to become teachers? Jagadav, this is a very practical concern. When we often tell women, what we tell women often is, it's not about doing everything, it's about doing the right things with the right attitude. Family responsibilities remain a priority, but when homemakers bring awareness into their daily chores, even cooking and cleaning become spiritual practices. They can carve out small yet consistent pockets of time for seva, meditation, or teacher training. For example, 30 minutes early morning for sadhana, 1 to 2 hours weekly for seva or satsang, and seasonal commitment for training. When the family sees her joy, and transformation, they begin supporting her. Moreover, art of living encourages harmony, not conflict. A balanced approach allows her to enrich both family and community life. Many homemakers share that once they begin spiritual practices, they actually became more efficient in household duties. This efficiency creates time and energy for seva and learning. In short, spiritual practices don't take time away, they give time back in the form of energy, clarity, and focus. Now, what is the significance of women becoming spiritual anchors in their families through these practices? In Vedic thought, a family without a spiritually awakened woman is like a lamp without oil. Women have always been seen as the dharma stamba, the pillars of values. When a homemaker practices meditation, sandhya vandanam, or gayatri japa, she naturally radiates calmness. This transforms the atmosphere of the home. Children grow up in a positive environment, husbands feel supported, and even elderly parents experience peace. She becomes the anchor that stabilizes the family during crisis. Historically, great lineages were preserved because women held strong to traditions and prayers. Today, when families are distracted by technology and stress, a woman's spiritual practices become a silent guiding force, even without preaching. Her presence uplifts everyone around her. Thus, she reclaims her central role not as a passive housewife, but as the heart and spirit of the household. This shift gives her dignity, purpose, and recognition in ways that employment alone may not. Now, could you share examples of homemakers who felt helpless but became empowered leaders through art of living? There are countless stories. One homemaker in Pune, who once described herself as just a cook and cleaner, attended the happiness program through Sudarshan Kriya. She overcame depression and began volunteering in local satsangs. Over time, she trained to become an art of living teacher. Today, she leads courses for hundreds, guiding professionals and students alike. Another woman from Tamil Nadu, confined to household work, became active in Seva during Navratri. She discovered her organizational skills and now coordinates large homas at the Art of Living Center. In both cases, what changed was not their circumstances but their self image. They shifted from feeling invisible to becoming visible leaders. Their families now proudly support them. These stories are not rare, they are happening across India and abroad. They show that homemakers are reservoirs of strength waiting to be awakened. With spiritual practices and seva, helplessness transforms into leadership. Now, how does dharmic seva help homemakers overcome social stereotypes of being unproductive or dependent? Jagadiv society often measures productivity only in economic terms, ignoring the enormous invisible labor of homemakers. Dharmic seva, be it organizing pujas, teaching children prayers, supporting satsangs, or helping in community welfare, directly challenges this stereotype. When a woman participates in dharmic seva, she demonstrates that her contribution sustains not only her household but also the spiritual and cultural fabric of society. People begin to recognize her as a leader, guide, and nurturer, not just as someone dependent. In fact, dharmic seva creates independence of a higher kind, spiritual independence. She no longer seeks external validation because her sense of worth comes from serving the divine and humanity. Over time, this also changes how society perceives her. From being just a housewife, she becomes Mataji or Didiji, respected for her wisdom and service. In this way, dharmic seva redefines productivity not in rupees but in spiritual and cultural wealth that sustains generations. Now, can becoming an art of living teacher also provide financial empowerment for homemakers? Yes, though the deeper motivation remains seva, teaching can also create avenues of financial empowerment. Many homemakers initially join teacher training simply to deepen their own sadhana, but once certified, they are eligible to lead art of living courses. This provides them with the recognition, dignity, and a modest source of income. For women who felt financially dependent, even small earnings bring tremendous confidence. More importantly, teaching is flexible. Homemakers can conduct courses in their own homes, local community halls, or online, balancing family responsibilities. The sense of being valued both spiritually and financially gives them wings. Several homemakers share that their families began respecting them once once they saw participants benefiting from their courses. Thus, while Art of Living never promotes teaching as a career for money, it naturally opens pathways for financial independence, especially for women who earlier felt confined to the label of unemployed. It became a beautiful balance of inner fulfillment and outer empowerment. Now, from a dharmic standpoint, how do you see women earning through teaching spiritual practices? In the Vedic vision, sharing knowledge is considered the highest seva. Teachers, whether men or women, are upholding Brahma Vidya, the wisdom of the divine. Traditionally, teachers were supported by society through dakshina. Similarly, when homemakers teach art of living programs or conduct dharmic workshops, Accepting financial contributions is not commerce, it is part of the sacred exchange of knowledge. This restores dignity to their role. Instead of being labeled financially dependent, they embody the Guru Shakti capable of sustaining themselves while uplifting others. Culturally, it also sets an example for younger generations that spiritual wisdom is practical and valued. Thus, women earning through teaching is not against dharma, it is dharma in action as long as the intention remains pure and service oriented. In fact, it brings balance as she nurtures the home, upholds tradition, and also contributes to society's spiritual economy. Many homemakers face criticism when they step into seva or teaching roles. How can they handle this with grace? Negative criticism is natural whenever someone steps out of familiar roles. Homemakers who begin seva or teaching often hear, "Why waste time?" or who will do this housework?" The key is not to react defensively but to remain centered. Through daily sadhana, sudarshan kriya, meditation, padma sadhana, the mind gains resilience. Instead of fighting criticism, women can gently demonstrate the benefits through their transformation. When families see them happier, calmer, and more efficient, criticism fades. Another approach is communication, explaining that seva and teaching are not escapes from family duties, but ways to recharge and give more to the family. Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji often says, take criticism as a compliment. It means people are noticing your growth. So homemakers are encouraged to welcome criticism with a smile and keep moving on the path. Eventually, the same critics often become supporters or even participants in their courses. Now, what is the intergenerational impact when a homemaker practices these sadhanas and becomes active in seva? Yes, the ripple effect is profound. Children growing up in a home where the mother meditates daily and leads with seva absorb values unconsciously. They learn discipline, compassion, and spiritual grounding by observation, not lectures. Sons learn to respect women as anchors of wisdom, and daughters gain the confidence that homemaking is not limitation but strength. Even elderly family members feel reassured and protected when they see the homemakers as a spiritual leader. From a dharmic perspective, this ensures that traditions do not break between generations. The parampara of Sandhya Vandanam, Gayatri Japa, Pujas, and Satsangs is carried forward naturally. Thus, one woman's transformation uplifts not just her family but entire lineages. This is why our scriptures honor women as Kula Devis, the protectors of family dharma. When homemakers embrace sadhana and seva, they secure not their children's future but the spiritual legacy of many generations to come. Now, how do you see the homemakers contributing to at a global level through art of living? Jagadev, today art of living is present in over 180 countries, and homemakers play a vital role in this global movement. Many women who once doubted their word have now led yoga and meditation workshops in international forums, taught Sudarshan Kriya to corporate leaders, or organized mass homas abroad. With online platforms, even a homemaker in a small town can now guide participants across continents. Their natural warmth and nurturing energy make them effective facilitators of peace and cultural ambassadors of India. On a larger scale, this demonstrates that homemakers are not confined to their kitchens. They are capable of touching the world. Globally, when people witness women leading spiritual practices with their confidence, it breaks stereotypes of dependent housewives and presents them as embodiments of strength and wisdom. Thus, through seva, teaching, and satsang, homemakers become global messengers of peace and dharma, fulfilling Gurudev's vision of a stress free, violence free world. Now, in the Vedic vision, women are seen as carriers of Shakti. How does this principle apply to modern homemakers? In the Vedas, women are described as Shakti Swarupani, the embodiment of energy. Without her, no ritual, no dharma, no family could be sustained. This is not symbolic alone, it reflects her real influence. A homemaker, though often unseen in worldly records, is the reservoir of energy in her family. When she practices meditation, Gayatri Japa, Sandhya Vandanam, she channels this Shakti into harmony, abundance, and wisdom for all. Modern homemakers must remember their value is not in comparison to employment statistics, but in their ability to hold families and societies together. The home is their temple and they are the presiding deity. When she recognizes herself as Shakti, the feeling of helplessness vanishes. She begins to see her role not as less productive but as foundational. This shift is crucial. It aligns her with her Vedic identity and restores pride in homemaking as a sacred, powerful responsibility. Now, how can homemakers balance modernity with tradition through art of living practices? Balancing modernity and tradition is about integration, not rejection. A homemaker today may use technology, manage a busy household, and guide children in academics, but she also yearns for spiritual grounding. Art of Living provides tools that fit naturally into modern life, meditation apps, Online satsangs and guided kriyas allow her to remain connected to tradition in practical ways. For instance, she can do her Sudarshan Kriya in the morning, attend an online Gayatri chanting in the evening, and still manage modern responsibilities. Tradition gives her depth while modernity gives her reach. Many women have found joy in teaching meditation on Zoom while also conducting local Navratri homas. This synergy is beautiful. Modernity becomes the platform, tradition becomes the essence. Homemakers thus embody the best of both worlds, rooted in ancient wisdom yet flowing with modern relevance. Now, can homemakers contribute to peace movements and social harmony through these practices? Yes, history shows that repeatedly women have always been peacekeepers from the home to the nation. When a homemaker meditates, she radiates calmness that directly influences her environment. When she participates in satsangs and seva, she fosters unity across communities in large art of living initiatives such as river rejuvenation, projects, disaster relief, or Navratri humas. Women volunteers have been the backbone. Their patience, compassion, and organizing power naturally bring harmony. From a dharmic perspective, women represent the ahimsa and karuna, non-violence and compassion. When homemakers step into peace movements, they embody these values in action. They teach society that strength is not aggression but nurturing care. Thus, homemakers can transform neighborhoods into peaceful spaces and contribute significantly to Gurudev's vision of a stress-free, violence-free world. In this way, their seva becomes not just personal growth but a collective force for global harmony. Now, how does daily sadhana prevent homemakers from falling into depression or self pity? The depression often arises when the mind keeps replaying, I am not enough, my life is meaningless. Homemakers are particularly vulnerable to this because their contributions are undervalued. Sadhana, whether it is Sudarshan Kriya, Padma Sadhana, or meditation or Sanyam Sadhana of level 1 and level 2, interrupts these negative cycles. It floods the nervous system with prana, energizes the body, and clears the mind. A few minutes of rhythmic breathing can dissolve hours of anxiety. Meditation connects the homemaker to her true self. Beyond roles and comparisons, this inner connection gives her joy independent of external recognition. Over time, regular sadhana rewires her brain to focus on gratitude rather than self pity. Many women have reported that what once felt like a burden became a blessing after they began daily practice. The sadhana is not luxury, it is essential mental hygiene, especially for homemakers who silently carry the emotional weight of entire families. Now, how do rituals like Sandhya Vandanam and Gayatri Japa help homemakers anchor their minds amidst distractions? Rather, these rituals are designed precisely to anchor the wandering mind. Sandhya Vandanam performed at sunrise and sunset is not merely prayer, it is a conscious pause that aligns homemakers with the cosmic rhythms. It reminds her that the day is not just a chores but a sacred journey. Gayatri Japa, on the other hand, activates higher intelligence and burns away restless tendencies. When a homemaker sits even for 10 minutes with the mantra chanting, her mind becomes steady like a flame in still air. In today's age of constant mobile notifications and mental clutter, these practices are vital. They give the homemaker a spiritual compass so she doesn't drown in endless distractions. From a Vedic standpoint, each anchoring rituals protect the family too, because a calm homemaker radiates stability for everyone in her household. Now, how can homemakers use Seva to discover hidden talents and skills? Jagadev, Seva is a mirror. It reveals talents we never knew existed. Many homemakers enter Seva thinking they will only do simple tasks, but in the process, they discover abilities to organize large events, manage finances, lead groups, teach, or even sing and inspire others. For example, one homemaker who volunteered in Art of Living Satsangs discovered her gift for public speaking. Another who helped with organizing homas later became an expert in chanting mantras. These skills not only empower them but also bring recognition and respect from family and society. Importantly, Seva gives them a safe, supportive space to experiment and grow, free from the fear of failure. Over time, homemakers realize that their helplessness was only a mental barrier. Seva unlocks their potential, showing them that they are capable of much more than they ever imagined. Now, how do Vedic practices restore self respect to homemakers who feel undervalued? The self respect comes from realizing one's sacred role. In Vedic culture, homemakers were never unemployed. They were the Griha Lakshmi, the energy source of the household. Rituals like puja, somas, guru puja, sandhya vandanam, and gayatri japa reinforce this sacred identity. When a homemaker performs these practices, she is not wasting time, she is sustaining cosmic balance in her home. This recognition restores dignity. Moreover, Dharmic rituals remind her that she is a link in the eternal chain of tradition. Without her, the lineage would break. This awareness transforms her self image from being undervalued to being indispensable. Society may or may not always appreciate her role, but the dharmic perspective assures her that her contribution is vital for family culture and cosmic harmony. This restores self respect in a way that no external label can. Now, what is the ultimate fulfillment a homemaker can experience through these practices? The ultimate fulfillment is realizing that her life is not ordinary but divine. Through meditation, sudarshan kriya, seva, satsang, and rituals, the homemaker awakens to her true nature, pure consciousness, joy, and love. She no longer sees herself as just a housewife, but as a chemical and channel of Shakti, nurturing not only her family but also society. This realization brings a deep contentment. She stops comparing herself with others and instead celebrates her unique contribution. Many homemakers describe this as a shift from living in shadows to radiating light. Fulfillment comes when she experiences inner peace, family harmony, and the joy of uplifting others through seva or teaching. It's not about escaping her role, but embracing it with awareness. This is the essence of moksha in daily life, freedom while fully engaged. Now, how does society as a whole benefit when homemakers embrace spiritual empowerment? When homemakers are spiritually empowered, entire societies flourish, families become stable, children grow up with values, and communities thrive with harmony. Social issues like conflict, depression, and crime reduce when women radiate calmness and wisdom from their homes. Spiritually awakened homemakers become torchbearers of culture, ensuring that traditions like Gayatri Japa, Pujas, and Satsangs are not lost. Economically, two societies benefit because spiritually centered families are healthier and more resilient. From a Vedic perspective, women are the Graha Shakti, or the very essence and the energy of households. When they are strong, the foundation of Dharma is strong. Thus, empowering homemakers spiritually is not only about uplifting individuals, it's about securing the well being of entire civilizations. If you had to give one message to homemakers feeling helpless today, what would it be? My message would be: you are not helpless, you are powerful beyond measure. Don't measure your worth by society's narrow definitions of productivity. You are the heart of your family, the preserver of tradition, and the nurturer of generations. Through meditation, sudarshan kriya, seva, and rituals, you can reclaim your joy, dignity, and strength. If you feel unseen, remember your role is cosmic, not limited. And if you wish, you can expand further, become a teacher, a volunteer, a leader in society. But even if you do nothing more than sit for 20 minutes of meditations daily, know that you are serving the world. Every breath in awareness, every prayer, every act of love matters. You are Shakti, and Shakti is never unemployed. It is the very power that sustains creation. Walk with this pride, and the world will recognize your light, Jacob.